The truth is simple, and it is sharp. Most people fail not because the climb is impossible, but because their spirit surrenders on level ground. They trade destiny for distraction, power for comfort, and potential for the applause of people who don't even know their name. They sleep with their eyes open, drift with their hands in their pockets, and then complain that the mountain never moves. You are not here to drift. You are here to decide. You are here to look your own doubt in the eye and command it to kneel. There is a voice in you that refuses to be small. Tonight, you will hear it clearly, and it will not whisper. Listen, the world is governed by law, cause and effect, seed and harvest, thought and consequence. Your life bends to that law whether you recognize it or not. The undisciplined mind calls outcomes luck, but the accurate mind calls them results. If your results are average, it is because the patterns beneath your days are average. If your results are chaotic, your habits are chaotic. You cannot escape the arithmetic of your decisions. Neither could Edison as he lit his laboratory with failure and called it education. Neither could Lincoln as he tasted defeat again and again until defeat became his tutor and not his jailer. The difference between their path and the path of most is not talent. It is the sacred choice to stay in the arena after the crowd has yawned and gone home. Why do most people fail? Because they postpone the necessary conversation with themselves. They outsource their permission to the opinions of strangers. They mistake movement for progress, knowledge for mastery, and emotional comfort for peace. They know what to do, but keep negotiating with the hour. I'll begin when I feel ready. But readiness is a myth invented by fear to sabotage the first step. The hour will not ask for your consent. It will pass. And if you let it pass enough times, you'll begin to look like your excuses. You will not. You will declare war on the lie that time is your friend and treat it like the king it is. You will stop seeking permission and start creating evidence. Evidence changes identity. When you witness yourself keeping your word, your voice grows iron in its tone. When you break your own command, you fracture the kingdom within and wonder why your life feels like a civil war. Harmony is possible, but harmony is not soft. Harmony is a soldier's discipline aligned to a poet's vision. It is the inner orchestra playing by law. Begin with this belief is not a feeling. It is an instruction. You don't wait for it, you build it. You don't beg for confidence. You manufacture it through action that respects your word. Every morning is a verdict. The alarm rings like a gavel, and your first decision is the case on the docket. If you rise when you said you would, the court records read, guilty of greatness. If you roll over, a small crime is committed against your future. That crime becomes habit, and the habit becomes your fate. Most people are not punished by discipline. They are punished by the absence of it. Consider Henry Ford, mocked, resisted, sued, and still unshaken. He condensed his energy into one purpose so intensely that the world eventually had to adjust its skepticism to fit into a Model T. Consider Andrew Carnegie, a child of scarcity, governed by a code of intention so strict that his environment had to evolve or be left behind. Consider Walt Disney, bankrupt, betrayed, rejected, but he kept the map in his head. He kept the castle behind his eyes. He understood a spiritual geometry. The thing you see on the inside longer than the world can deny on the outside eventually steps through the door you built with your days. So I ask you, without decoration, what is your definite purpose? Not your to-do list, not your seasonal enthusiasm, not your wish to do better, your commanding aim. If you cannot write it in a sentence, your life cannot obey it by the hour. The mind requires a leader, or it will elect your impulses as president, and your impulses will bankrupt the nation of your potential. Write the constitution of your life. I pursue this mission with these non-negotiable standards by these rituals across these hours. Then ratify it with your actions. Nations are built by law. So are destinies. Most people fail because they chase 10 doors at once and are shocked that none open. Focus is a form of love. A mind in love with its purpose is immune to trivial seductions. When your attention belongs to your aim, you stop renting it out to gossip, panic, and the algorithm's hunger. Your phone can be a tool or a leash. It depends on whether you are the master or the pet. Ford understood this. Edison understood this. Carnegie chose his companions like a general selects officers, by character, not noise. You must do the same. Association is propulsion or quicksand. Stand next to average long enough and excellence begins to feel impolite. Here is a harder truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Create a rhythm that survives your moods. Before the world touches you, you must touch your vision. Before the world sets its agenda in your blood, you must set your command. Establish the morning order wake when you promise. Move your body to remind your mind it has a vehicle. Isolate your mind to remind your soul it has a throne. Review your aim to remind your hours they have an owner. When you do this long enough, you stop fighting the day, and the day begins to salute you. And yet, there is a subtler sabotage waiting for perfect clarity. Most people fail because they demand a full map before taking the first step, but maps are awarded to those who move with a compass. Clarity is a dividend paid to the investor who fronts action. You act, then you learn, then you refine, then you act again. The world does not respect dabblers because nature does not. Seeds do not ask for better soil before they break open. They consent to the dark and push. If you will push like that, quietly, repeatedly, without drama, you will become inevitable. And inevitability is what ambition sounds like when it has matured. You won't fail because you will divorce your life from the approval of strangers and marry it to excellence in private. You will remember Lincoln writing speeches no one clapped for yet, Ford sketching machines that did not run yet, Disney drawing a mouse that did not squeak yet, Edison alone in a room full of mistakes that would become a city of light. The crowd arrives late. Don't schedule your soul around it. Instead, write your code what I promise I perform, especially when unseen. Now, hold this image. Your life is a cathedral under construction. Every decision is a brick. Most people build with straw because straw is light, and the applause is fast. Wind comes, and their sanctuary scatters across the road. You will build with stone. Stone is heavy, you lift it anyway. Stone is slow, you set it anyway. Stone is silent, you believe anyway. One day people will step inside what you built and call it luck. Smile. They weren't there for the foundation, and the foundation is where respect is poured. And still, there is the storm. There is always the storm. Edison's laboratory burned. Lincoln faced a nation at war with itself. Carnegie was slandered. Disney's first studio collapsed. Ford was copied, sued, and jeered. Why didn't they fail? Because they reinterpreted pain as tuition. Because they understood a law greater than circumstance. The meaning you give to adversity becomes the fuel that powers you through it, or the acid that dissolves you. Most allow pain to define them. Masters assign pain its post-instructor, not identity. You will too. You will meet resistance like a miner meets the mountain. Every strike, closer to the vein. You will become dangerous to failure when you adopt gratitude as strategy, not sentiment. Gratitude transforms scarcity into leverage. It does not lie about reality. It repositions you to see the opportunity hidden inside discipline. Grateful people don't ignore the rain. They harvest it. Grateful people don't deny the weight. They use it to build strength. When your lungs are filled with thank you. Panic cannot sit in the front seat, and when panic moves to the back, accurate thinking can drive. Accurate thinking cuts fog. Accurate thinking saves years. It sorts signal from noise, fact from feeling, cause from coincidence. Most people fail because they live by echo, what they heard, what they scrolled, what they assumed. You will interrogate your thoughts like a noble jury. Is this knowledge? or another man's rumor wearing conviction's coat. Notice how the room changes when you become precise. Your words get shorter and heavier. I'll try disappears, and I will takes the throne. Someday retires, calendars take over. Maybe later gets evicted. No, pays the rent. The universe has always loved decisiveness. When you make and keep a decision, doors you couldn't see in hesitation begin to appear in motion. The timid call this magic, the disciplined call it cause and effect. The future is not a mystery. It is a direction fortified by action repeated until the world yields. The next move is environment. Most people fail because they plant oak-sized dreams in shallow soil. They decorate their prison and call it comfort. Your habits require architecture. Curate your space so that your highest standards are the path of least resistance. Put your tools within reach, your triggers out of sight, your temptations behind friction. Let your room testify someone who respects the our lives here. And do not confuse romance with results. A beautiful planner does not build an empire. Uncompromising execution does. Marry your inspiration to a checklist that bites back. Now, the question of wealth. Most people fail in money and in meaning because they chase outcomes instead of creating values so dense that compensation becomes a moral obligation. Wealth is the shadow of usefulness cast onto the ground by service under a bright purpose. Carnegie built libraries because he understood that money multiplies when it is poured, not hoarded. Disney built wonder, not cartoons. Ford built access, not cars. Edison built solutions, not bulbs. Translate this to your day. What do you build that someone would grieve if it were gone? Answer that honestly, and income becomes a measurement, not a mystery. Do not ignore the law of compounding. It governs character as ruthlessly as it governs capital. Every kept promise earns interest in the bank of identity. Every broken promise accrues debt with compound shame. Each morning deposit discipline. Each night audit your accounts. Give yourself no soft stories. Replace judgment with measurement. How many focused minutes? How many courageous conversations? How many acts of service? You cannot argue with numbers. The undisciplined soul prefers adjectives. The disciplined prefers arithmetic. Mastery is not glamorous in practice. It is repetition without resentment. It is a monk's patience paired with a warrior's will. Boredom is the border between average and excellence. Most people camp on the edge and call it good enough. You will cross. You will turn the repetition into ritual and the ritual into rhythm until your body moves like a metronome set to your vision. This is how a violinist draws heaven from wood. This is how an athlete becomes art. This is how you will make greatness look quiet. Beware of noise disguised as urgency. Your ambitions will be stalked by the temptations of commentary. Everyone will have an opinion on your tempo, your choices, your aim. Remember Lincoln, he was criticized more loudly than he was praised. Remember Ford, experts declared his ideas impossible until they were inevitable. Remember Disney, gatekeepers said no until the gates were replaced by castles. If you listen to the crowd too early, you will become the crowd too late. Let results do the talking. They speak in a dialect everyone understands. The most dangerous enemy is not outside. It is your untrained emotion. Most people fail because they confuse intensity with consistency. They sprint a week and vanish a month. They move when inspired, stall when indifferent, and sabotage when uncomfortable. Emotion is a weather pattern. Purpose is climate. Your climate must dictate the day, not the clouds. Build the discipline of controlled waiting. When results delay, you do not uproot the seed to inspect it. You water, you guard, you endure. Patience is not passivity. It is strategic loyalty to the plan. This is where resilience earns its crown. Resilience is not the art of never breaking. It is the agreement you sign with destiny that you will reform stronger each time you bend. Once Lincoln lost, then he learned. Once Disney was bankrupt, then he drew again. Once Edison's work burned. Then he invited his family to watch the fire and said calmly, that they would never see another like it. He understood the form perishes so the essence can advance. Stop mourning the form, save the essence. Start again. You will make learning your daily covenant, not casual consumption, deliberate study with a bias for application. Capture insights, test them swiftly. Keep what works, discard what flatters. Build a personal board of directors, alive or dead, who counsel your decisions through their stories. When you face risk, ask, what would Lincoln's courage select? What would Carnegie's code approve? What would Disney's imagination attempt? What would Ford's focus protect? What would Edison's persistence accept as the cost of discovery? And then act. The room you're in will change temperature when you begin to live as if those giants are watching. In time, you will realize they weren't giants at all, just men who made bigger agreements with discipline and refused the insults of excuses. Most people fail because they decorate their fears with sophisticated language. They will overanalyze a single step for a decade and call it wisdom. They will demand guarantees from life and label the demand prudence. They will propose that cynicism is intelligence. It is not. Cynicism is the mask of a frightened mind that wants to look sharp while it sits still. Do not sit still. Move with accuracy. Move with honor. Move with an eye for opportunity and a foot for responsibility. This is not recklessness. This is alignment with the law that progress rewards movement. Gratitude will keep your power clean. Power without gratitude decays into arrogance, and arrogance is a form of blindness. You will perform thankfulness in behavior. You will write the note, make the call, pass the credit, share the profit. You will remember that every door you walk through was installed by someone else's sweat. Gratitude makes you magnetic and trustworthy. People can feel when your ambition includes them. They can also feel when it does not. Your reputation will travel places your body hasn't. Let it arrive as a quiet word. This one keeps promises. This one tells the truth. This one lifts others. Do not be deceived by trends. Fashion is fast, but principles are undefeated. The principle of sowing and reaping, of cause and effect, of definite purpose, of disciplined action, of persistence unto inevitability. These are older than your surname and younger than your next breath. Align with them, and you will outrun men with louder engines but wobbly wheels. You will pass them not by spectacle, but by direction. When they veer for attention, you steer for impact. When they shout, you build. When they dance for likes, you draft the blueprint and pour the concrete. Service is your greatest strategy. Your work is holy when it relieves real suffering. Find a problem and become its physician. Find a hunger and become its baker. Find a confusion and become its map. Money follows this like a shadow. Do not chase the shadow, become the sun. Carnegie did not get rich by accident. He became necessary. Ford became necessary. Edison, Disney, necessary. Be necessary. When your name answers a need, the market will remember it even after you are gone. Guard your energy as if it were sovereign currency, because it is. The undisciplined spend it on outrage and sugar. The disciplined invest it in making. You will design rituals that build far more than they consume. Deep work sprints, solitude walks, strength training that reminds your nervous system the body is a tool, not a toy. You will break a sweat before you break a promise. You will put your phone in another room and call it what it is, a portal to every other person's agenda. Close the portal, open the workshop, and then make something that embarrasses your previous standards. Your standards are your true friends. Friends do not flatter, they forge. When your standards rise, your life follows. Raise them without apology. Refuse to deliver average. Refuse to accept it from yourself. Mediocrity is expensive, it costs decades. Excellence is also expensive, it costs excuses. You choose the bill. Choose the one that pays you back with interest. You will also need mercy, but the right kind. Not mercy that excuses cowardice, mercy that converts failure into knowledge without poisoning your identity. When you miss the mark, do not slash the tires. Change the tire and drive. Shame is a poor teacher, precision is better. Ask, where exactly did the chain break? Then reinforce that link: sleep, nutrition, planning, focus, truthfulness with yourself. You do not need to be cruel to be rigorous. You need to be honest. Build a scoreboard that cannot lie. Measure what matters. Minutes of deep work, not hours at a desk. Reps completed, not time in the gym. Calls made, not motivational quotes read. Pages written, not perfect sentences planned. The scoreboard stares at you like a mirror. Meet its eyes. When the numbers dip, you adjust with respect, not drama. Emotion will beg to narrate. Decline the narration, respond with behavior. The body understands verbs better than adjectives. Understand attention. It is the master commodity of the modern age. Most people fail because they squander it on the endless public square of distraction. You will treat attention like the banker treats vaults. You will budget it ruthlessly: a morning treasury for creation, an afternoon reserve for execution, an evening fund for renewal. If someone asks for it, they must show a return. If a platform steals it, audit the theft and repair the door. When you become this selective, some will call you cold. You are not cold, you are committed. Heat is for the forge, not for every request. Reserve it for the work that outlives you. Reserve it for the people you would die for, and the craft you would live inside. Let the rest slide like rain down stone. Adversity will still arrive like an uninvited guest. Do not set the table for it, set the terms. When crisis knocks, you breathe. You ask, what can be controlled within the next hour? You do that, you ask, what lesson is hiding in this smoke? You learn it. You ask, which of my principles remains true even now? You obey it. This is how men of destiny convert chaos into order. This is how Lincoln steered a nation. This is how Edison outlived flames. This is how Disney emerged from bankruptcy with a mouse that became a kingdom. The same law that lifted them has not retired. Your identity will expand to fit the evidence you feed it. Feed it excellence. Feed it vows fulfilled. Feed it hard choices taken without witness. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you deposit sovereignty. Soon you will feel it, a weight in the chest that is not burden but ballast. You walk differently with ballast. Your presence says, this foundation will not crack. People will trust you before you speak. Opportunities will volunteer. Of course they will. The market recognizes architecture. Now the soul of the matter: purpose. Purpose is not a mood. Purpose is a decision you renew until the decision becomes you. It is the vow to suffer what is required to become the person required to do the work required. This vow is the altar where average burns and greatness is born. Write it, speak it, obey it, not once, daily. This is not superstition, it is psychology. The brain watches the body and believes the body's story. If the story is, we honor our word, the brain unlocks doors that were welded shut by apathy. Vision, then. See clearly, not fantasy, not delusion, clarity. What do you intend to build? Who must you become to build it? What must die in you so that this can live? Write the eulogy of your excuses. They've been loyal companions, but they have stolen too much. Thank them for their service and bury them with ceremony. Then pick up your tools. I do not mean hammers alone. I mean your calendar, your pen, your phone used for creation, not consumption, your training shoes, your silence, your audacity. Finally act. You have thought enough. You have consumed enough. The time for passive inspiration has expired. Trade it for active transformation. Choose a single move that honors your aim and execute it now. Then another, then another. This is not glamorous, but it is royal. Kings are known by commands carried out, not speeches. Let your day become a string of carried out commands. This is how legends are made quietly. There is a summit in you that the world cannot see yet. Most people fail because they quit at the foothills and call the shadow of the mountain too much. But you were not designed for the foothills. You were built with lungs for altitude and legs for ascent. The air will thin. Your doubts will get loud. Your excuses will sound like friends. Keep climbing. At a certain height, the noise below fades and your breath becomes music. You will hear it the rhythm of your will in tune with law. That sound is peace. When you reach a plateau, and you will, do not pitch a tent unless the view makes you weep with gratitude. If it doesn't move, plateau is not prison, but it becomes one if you decorate it. This is why most fail. They fall in love with their last accomplishment and stop courting their future. You will remain faithful to progress. You will celebrate, yes, but with one eye on the horizon, like a captain who knows the sea is generous only to those who respect it. Build a team worthy of your mission. The myth of the self-made is half a truth. There is always a circle pulling the rope with you. Choose them by evidence, not declaration. Choose the ones who train their emotion, guard their attention, and bow to their own vows. Choose people who will tell you when your crown is crooked and hand you the mirror, not the excuse. Call that circle your mastermind, your counsel, your crew. Just ensure it is built on harmony, not hype. Discord is sand in the engine. Protect the engine. As your life accelerates, integrity must accelerate faster. Success without character is a slow motion collapse. The world may applaud your height. Gravity applauds nothing. Choose the golden rule because it is law, not because it is trendy. Do unto others is an architecture protocol for human trust. The man who honors it becomes wealthy in the currency that markets cannot counterfeit: credibility. Opportunities compound where trust accumulates. Let your presence settle rooms. You don't need volume when you have weight. How do you get weight? Keep promises. Tell the truth. Forgive quickly and move precisely. Study when no one asks and produce when no one is ready. Carry your own load and, when possible, carry more. Respect the hour. Respect the craft. Respect the people whose lives your work will touch. In a world addicted to spectacle, reverence is rebellion. One day, your name will appear in a conversation, and someone will say, "That one is inevitable." Not because you shouted it, but because you lived it. Not because you marketed yourself into importance, but because you constructed a life that the universe could not ignore. You will look in the mirror and see it in your own eyes. Command without cruelty, humility without self-betrayal, intensity without chaos, the royal signature of a disciplined soul. And if you stumble, because you will, do not pretend you did not. Tell the truth fast. Correct course faster. The shame you avoid by hiding is a debt that compounds. The honor you gain by confessing is an asset that attracts allies. Leaders go first into discomfort and exit with a map. Be a leader of yourself, then of your house, then of your work, and the world will assign you other titles you won't need to say out loud. Now breathe. Feel the weight of your possibility in your chest, not as anxiety, but as authority. Ask your life for what it owes you, and be prepared to pay in full. Demand from your hours the greatness you placed on your vision board, and pay with focus, with discipline, with repetition, with grace. Do it without announcement. Do it especially when bored. Do it when nobody texts you back and the numbers laugh. Do it when your legs shake and your lungs burn. Do it because you said you would, and you are tired of living below your own respect. This is how you will not fail. You will trade comfort for conviction, preference for principle, noise for direction, fantasy for vision, hurry for patience, and excuses for evidence. You will become the kind of person whose standards protect them from the ordinary and whose habits make high achievement the path of least resistance. When your name is called by history or by your child or by your own conscience in the quiet of midnight, you will be ready to answer without shame. I kept my word. Rise, ink your vow, burn the exit routes, set the standard and obey it until the world obeys you back. The alarm will ring, treat it like a drum of war. The work will wait, greet it like a lover. The fear will shout, walk past it like a king passing a heckler. Let today become the day that later looks back at and calls the hinge. The hour the door swung from average to ascent. Decide, move. Persist, refine, serve, repeat. And on the day when the crowd finally arrives to name you sudden, smile and keep building. You'll know what they do not, that everything they see began when you stopped asking for a lighter load and built a stronger back. Most people fail because they never return the throne to the rightful ruler, the disciplined will, guided by accurate thought in service of a definite purpose. You just did, and now the kingdom of your life will begin to resemble its king. Stand up, go to work, becoming inevitable.